Is coming in as well.
It's the 6th of February. This is Rabbi Furst, Pierke Avos.
You again, thank you, Lou. This is Rabbi Shlomo Furst, as Lou mentioned. This is Shiva Samanafshi care of Zoom here in Shalim. We're learning Pirkei Avos. We're taking a little bit of a diversion to understand a little more deeply the Maharal Maprag's comments about those who learn Torah Lishma and their right to have respect and covered. And the reason being, as the Maharal explains, that they are separated from the Gashmis of this world, and therefore that's fit that they should be worthy of our respect. And then we're working on understanding that a little bit more deeply. So now we're learning the Aram Prague here. You'll see on your screen momentarily on the Sivas Oilam about how it's Tzaddik is compared to Or. Or is Toiv, Tzaddik is Toiv. The whole world was worth, all of existence worth creating for the sake of its Tzaddik. And you'll see the rest of that on your screen momentarily. And then we'll begin. Okay.
Have a good day, Gina. So we're starting with Lechain, Lechach.
Take a look here. Yeah, we can start with that for sure. Yeah.
Get a running start.
This will be a review, but it's the concepts discussed here are a little bit on the profound side, so I think we should spend some time reviewing it so we get a clarity about the understanding what's being said. Okay, begin if you like. Sure.
Lechach, Ganzu, Le Tzadikim, La Tid, Lavo. I forgot what Ganzu is.
Ganzu, Geniza, when you have things, you might have these various different stations in your neighborhood about Geniza. You have a certain history called Geniza. It's called Geniza. Why is it called Geniza? Because it's going to be stored for safekeeping, right? So it shouldn't become destroyed in the wrong manner or used in the wrong manner. That's why it's called Geniza. Goines, exactly. Tell you the truth, Goines, what's the shorish of the word? Gimel nun zayin, ganaz. There's ganaz. No, okay. I'm not sure. I'd have to. Maybe if I have a minute, I'll try and we'll continue on. If I have a minute, I'll try and look up. Maybe there's some of them forcing to explain the shorish, the meaning of the word there.
I wonder if it's related to Gan.
Well, it could be. I mean, you find from time to time that because of the Migdal bubble, when Hakadosh Baruch Hu disrupted all the language, all the peoples, and made them speak different languages, there are some vestiges of the original words and phrases from previous times that they used the expressions from time to time. You see that come up once in a while.
Okay, so therefore, the tzaddikim were stored for the time to come. Kasher yiyeh ha'olam misolek min hagashmei yiyeh mash mesh Haor Hanivdal min Hagashme Ligamre. So when it will be the world Misolek is the future world?
No, solek is siluk is to remove.
Remove.
So right. So it says lechein ganzu letzadikim laselo. Therefore, this light which the Kadosh Baruch Hu, created and was seen by Kadosh Baruch Hu at the time of Ma'aseh Bereshis, that light was was stored away for the tzaddikim in the future.
That makes more sense.
Right, kasher, and because why? Because that lasid lavoy, it's going to be that the oilam will be mesuluk migashmi, that the world in the future will be removed from its physical state. You can in a certain way. I'm not saying this is the way it works at all. I know nothing about these things, but I just in a way to try and visualize it and relate to it a little bit. You know that you have three different phases. You have solid phase, liquid phase, and gas phase, right? So what occurs with the various different elements? Some elements in under normal conditions are liquid, like mercury is in liquid phase, in its natural under natural conditions. For other things like say iron and platinum in the natural state, they're solid. Other things are gas, oxygen under natural conditions. Oxygen is gaseous. So you have three different phases: solid, liquid, and gas. So olam haba, the lasid lava olam haba is not in a physical state. It's in a just to imagine it could be in a liquid or a gas. It could be in a gaseous state. Right now we live in a physical world, which is in the physical phase of existence. But there are other phases of existence which could be. I'm just using these as reference points, but that's not the way it works at all. It could be that correspondingly there could be a liquid phase of existence. There could be a gaseous phase of existence, right? So therefore, in the Lasad Lavoi, when the world will be Mesuluk Migashmin, it'll be on a different phase of existence, right? So therefore, that's when this light will be made available to the tzaddikim.
Right. Okay. So the world will be separated from the physical completely. And in that phase, the world will be completely separated from the physical.
Right. So if you just imagine like in lesser level, so the world, the existence will be in a gaseous state, right? In a gaseous state, which is non-physical compared to the solid phase, right? Yeah,
Right.
even gases. I mean, physically speaking, gases are also physically based, but they're much more non-physical than the solid phase.
Right. Right. Aval ba'olam hazeh shehatzadik yesh lo guf ein roy leolam rak or sheyesh lo nosei gashmei kamo hachama v'halavana. But in this world, that the tzaddik has a body, it's not appropriate.
Sorry, what's the yesh lo guf?
Could you say that?
Yesh lo, there is to him.
Oh, there is to him, right, okay.
Right.
In other words, he has a body.
Right, okay.
Right. So
Yeah, I'm getting mixed up with all the lot business. Yeah, so-
Right. He has a body, and it is not fitting. I'm sorry, it's only fitting in this world. The light that he has made physical, like the sun and the moon. So in other words, the sun and the moon represent a type of light which is appropriate for this world. Lefichach nignaz or haor harishon she'eno beguf v'nasan lahem or hazeh shehu baguf. That there is not a body to give to them the light, this light that is in the body.
okay, so all right, so that so let's get a running start here. Okay, so from the beginning, that therefore this light was stored away for the tzaddikim in the future, that when the world will be removed from its physical state, it'll be in a non-physical phase of existence, and therefore that light, which is separated from that which is physical completely, then that light will be able to be used, to be benefited from. In this world where tzaddikim yesh lam guf, where the tzaddikim have to them a physical body, a physical existence, ein roi la'olam rak hu sheyesh lo noise gashmi kamo chama levana. It's not proper that there should be in this world, the physical world, any type of use of light except that light which has some physical basis to it. For example, the light of the sun and the light that comes from the moon, right? Or light, let's say, comes from fire or combustion, right? So since this world is a physical world, it's only proper that only a physical based light could be made use of. So now the fikach nigza or rishon. Therefore, that original or was put away in safekeeping. She'enu v'guf v'noslem or hazeh shuhu guf. That for that original light, which has no she'eno beguf, which is not physically based in any bodily substance, or hazeh shuguf, and instead of that original ore, it's given to them a ore which has a physical basis to it.
That has a physical basis. Okay. Thank you. That was
the word goof here is a little bit, we usually goof means that, something which like the physical body, but also I think it could mean that the original or ein beguf, meaning it's not physically contained, it's not limited by physical boundaries. But the ore that we have now, that's an ore a light which is bound to a substance. Meaning the light, for example, we made mention of the light of the sun, light of the moon, right? So the light of the sun and the light of the moon is only available to us when the sun is shining upon us. If the sun's not shining upon us, we don't make direct use of the light of the sun. Likewise with the sun of the light of the moon. So it's based on physical constraints, whereas the original ore is not based on physical constraints.
Umitnei shehatzadik misulak min hachomer nikra'u tzadikim or asher haor misolek min hachomer. So given this, that the righteous have been removed from the physical, they are called righteous light. That the light is removed from the physical.
So right, very good. So since that the tzaddikim are removed from that which is physical, the tzaddikim are referred to as or, just as or is separated from the physical. So tzaddikim are also separated from the physical. Therefore, tzaddikim are referred to as or. It's a different type of ore. You have the ore, which is the pure ore, which is something which is removed from that which is physical, and you have the tzaddikim, which they are also removed from the physical, so they're also referred to as or. And so this is a concept that it'll take a little bit more time to go into. That what's the connection of or being removed from the physical? I mean, we have these three basic phases. We have solid, liquid, and gas. And then you have another phase. Apparently, there's another phase, a phase which is called light, right? Which is a different phase entirely. Okay, let's go to the next. Yeah, Roy, you want to say something?
I'll ask a question. When we're talking about
It's just Shim, it's just a bit hard to hear. You could speak a little bit louder.
oh, sorry, is this better?
Yeah, better. Yes, much better. Thank you.
All right. When we're talking about the world, physical world, and change, we're talking about it changing, that the actual physical world, this world, changing to a different state, or a different, or say to a gaseous state, or are we talking about a different world altogether? So there's 2, 3, 4 worlds, 2 or 3 worlds.
I'm using the physical states, the solid state, the liquid state, and the gaseous state just as an illustration of what we're referring to. Not that it's
actually.
Yeah, I mean, what it actually is going to be that we don't really know, but it's just like the properties and behavior. Take water, for example. The liquid state of water behaves differently than the solid state of ice, and likewise the steam, the gaseous state of water behaves differently than either the liquid phase or the solid state phase. So likewise, the olam haba, right, being something which is non-physical, it's a different phase of existence. It's existence, but it's different phase of existence. So obviously, it's going to have different properties and different behaviors. And that's another explanation why primarily Lasad Lavo is going to be there for the tzaddikim. The tzaddikim, right, will be able to function in that state, in a non-physical state, because even now in this world, which is a physical world, they are attempting as much as humanly possible to exist in a non-physical state. So therefore, when the existence is non-physical, they'll be able to adapt to that, and they'll be able to thrive in such an environment. That's the survival of the fittest, right? The survival of the most.
Yeah. The fittest. I think it's more of the survival of the most deserving.
I didn't say that again. I didn't hear.
Sorry, I think it's mostly more rather than the survival, rather than the survival of the fittest. I think it's probably the survival of the most deserving.
Okay, that's good. That's a nice way of putting it. Okay, I'll go for that.
Mm.
That's right. That's right. It's not the survival of the most deserving.
Mm.
Okay, there we go. You can write that down in your diary there. Well,
Oh, actually, I'll take away the word most. Survival of the, take away the word most. Survival of the deserving.
survival of the deserving. Okay, that's where
Mm.
we'll take care of that. It'll be very good. I like that. That's a nice phrase. Okay.
Or hazeh hapshut hu echad ki hadavar nivdal lo yit nisrava velo yis chalak klal. And the light, this light, it is simple. This simple light, it is one, because the matter is separate, and not Yisrava. I don't know Yisrava.
Yeah, that's from the word reboid, but like it's not like duplicated, or it's not multiplied. So this, first of all, this word here, who pashut, something which is pashut. Pashut is really something which is, as you said, it's simple, but it's I think it's maybe more best say, right? It's something elementary, hu echad, and it's something which is elementary and unified. It's elementary and unified. Hu echad is like unified. Echad means one, but that's really not really carrying the connotation we want to achieve over here. So I would say like it's something elementary, and maybe you could say singular if you want, singular, or you could I would probably say unified.
Okay, because this word Anivdal, did I correctly translate that as separate, like Havdalah?
Yeah, Hivdal is it could be separated, or you could say See, echad could also be it's undivided or indivisible. Indivisible. Could be also be indivisible. And nivdal is usually, as you said, as from Havdalah, is usually something which is separate and
So it's separate.
well, actually, let's look at the ki hadavar hanivda lo yisrabe lo yischalek klal. Something which is separate. Like separate here, it means that it's like it's unique. Um, um,
You can also translate Havdalah as distinction.
right, something which is distinct. Right, correct.
It's distinct, it's not duplicated, and it's not it doesn't have any parts to it.
Yeah, it's not divisible. It's not divisible at all.
At all.
Yeah, that's
the hichlok v'har boy v'har bay.
I think that's riboy. V'achiluk v'hariboy. So chiluk is division, and riboy is like duplication. Division and multiplication.
And division and multiplication is from the perspective of the doer.
Hanoise hachomri. Hanoise hachomri is from the physical aspects. The chiluk and riboy, right? Divisibility and multiplication, right? That is a result of the physical aspect or the physical component, the physical aspect.
Shemitzad hazeh yavo haribui v'hachalok. And from this perspective comes the multiplication and the division. From this perspective, the physical aspects, from the perspective of the physical aspects comes the multiplication and the division. The Devar Hazeh, I'm sorry?
It could be Shemitzad Hazeh Yivo Riboy Bechiluk. You could maybe say Shemitzad, it could be because of this. Because of this comes the multiplication and the division.
Because of this, meaning because of the physical aspects, right?
Right, exactly.
Okay, because of this comes the multiplication and the division. The Devar Hazeh Mivoar let
me illustrate this as furthermore using the three phase illustration. So you have solid, liquid, and gas, right?
right.
So something which is solid, let's say you have ice, right? So you can take ice and you can crush the ice, you can divide the ice, right? And you can break it apart, right?
Right.
In contrast, water is much more difficult to break apart. Meaning you can separate water, but you need a container in order to separate the water. Without a container to separate one body of water, the water is going to merge together, right? So the water being less solid has more of a unity to it than solid ice, which although it's unified at the time it's solid, but you can in fact divide it, or multiplication doesn't really fit so well in that case, but you certainly can divide ice. Whereas with water, you need a containers in order to divide the water in its liquid state. And also with gas, it's also you need to have also containers, and if you want to divide say steam in the liquid state, in the gaseous state. So the aspect of being multiple, of being able to be multiplying and to be divided is as a result of it being physical.
Right. And this has been explained for the one who who understands with wisdom.
Right. Right.
So if
you're
wise, if you're wise and you know it and you understand this, then you understand it.
And I guess if you don't understand it, that means you're not wise, or you still have to get wiser. So, but I think using the three state illustration, I think it becomes a little bit more clear. Is it clear, or does it needs a little bit more clarification?
Well, I think that the three state illustration is very helpful. I wouldn't say it's 100% clear though.
No, right. I agree. I'm not going to claim to have a full clear understanding of it. I mean, I have to study this really in depth to really to get the full proper meaning of what's going on here. But we're just really scratching the surface at this point.
Like all the points that we're coming across, each of them deserves a series of shiurim.
Yeah, no, it's very true, Roy. These are. I mean, it's unfortunate because these are the proper perspectives that we have to have about life in the world we exist in and live in. And unfortunately, coming from our non Torah backgrounds, I mean, anyone coming out of Western society has not been exposed to these ideas, certainly at an early age, and certainly has been exposed to other things which give a different perspective on what life and existence is in many degrees different than this. So we have a lot of work to do. Really, we have a lot of work to do.
Yeah, well, this touches on Nefesh HaChaim that we're doing with Rabbi Levi.
Yeah, no, that's right. That's right. That's why Nefesh HaChaim is
more than touch. More than touch. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Very true. Very true. Okay, let's see. We have time. Let's continue on.
Another thing that's percolating around in my brain.
Sure.
Is trying to think about the nature of light and how that fits into this, because we have this what do you call it, paradox, I guess, or conundrum, that light has a dual nature. Light acts like a wave, and it acts like a particle. It sometimes acts like a wave, and it sometimes acts like a particle. And a wave can be thought of as being much less physical than a particle. A wave is basically a manifestation of energy. It doesn't really have a physical existence. It's I mean, like a wave in the ocean, the wave is not the water. The water is moving because of the energy. That's the wave is the energy that moves the water. And the same thing with light. And when light is acting like a wave, various experiments have been done where they show that light acts like a wave in some in certain ways. When they shine a light through a little pinhole, it disperses like a wave on the other side of the pinhole. But they've also done experiments where they show that light acts like a particle, and they call it photons. And photon is like a little piece of light, if that makes any sense to anybody. So I'm just wondering if, I'm just, in the back of my mind, I keep thinking, well, talking about this physical part of light and the non-physical part of light. And we have, scientifically the similar concepts.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I've been thinking about along those lines too as well. It could be, it could be. I mean, obviously, what they're perceiving, sometimes wave behaviors, sometimes particle behaviors, but it could be that it's a whole different type of phase entirely. It's a different phase. It's not just as you have liquid, solid, and gaseous. You have a light phase, and that could be something. It could be a unique new way of trying to approach the definition of what light is, perhaps.
Right.
And so therefore, just as you could say, liquids do perhaps behave like solids in some sense, but they maybe also behave like gases in some sense, right? Again, whether it's empirically true, I don't know, but perhaps it is. In which case, light may be a whole different type of a phase. And so that might be a unique way of looking at it. So as we go through this, we can keep that in the back of our minds and try and build on that idea. See if we you get any new insights based on that.
Okay, but va'af ki amalachim shehem einam gashmiim yesh bahem haribui hayoter. So and even with angels, that they are not physical. There is concerning them multiplication. Hayoter is more so.
Yeah, I think that the Haribi Hayos is like a profundance of riboy of multiplication.
What does that mean?
Well, you have Chazal are very, very profuse in how many malachim there are. They talk about hundreds of thousands and millions, perhaps. So you see, in terms of, since you see malachim, even though they are einam gashmim, they have, however, a great deal of profusion. There are many, many millions, perhaps, of malachim. And malachim are really, in terms of the context of what Chazal mean when they're referring to malachim, many times they're talking about various, what we call forces. They're forces, like a force, magnetism. So again, you're talking about a force, magnetism. So when you think about magnetism, so what is that? That's something physical? I mean, obviously, you need physical things to elicit, to create, or bring to actualization the magnetism, right?
Right.
But is magnetism, is that it's known as a force? So it's not a it's somewhat physically, it's dependent upon materialism, but it seems to be beyond it somehow.
Right. Yeah, I've heard that analogy that that the example I heard was that gravity is an angel.
Oh, yeah. Well, interesting. Interesting.
It's performing Hashem's will. It's holding the world together. Without gravity, nothing, none of us would, nothing would exist.
Right. Right. So, correct. And then for reasons we may not all know, the magnetism also is obviously some type of there's obviously a physical necessity for magnetism.
Right,
Um,
absolutely.
you know, without that, things would probably be drastically different.
There'd be no such thing as an atom without magnetism.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Um, right. So here the malachim. So you have these very, and so there are all these various different forces which are really non-physical, but yet there is to them, as he says here, there's a riboy ayoser, there's a great profundity, not profundity, profuseness. There's great profuseness of malachim.
Right.
And he's going to explain why. He's going to explain why.
Zehu mitzad shehem machlokim mitzad tzortan sheyikre'u tor os nifredus aval be'adam ein bahem chiluk mitzad tzortan. Okay, so from this perspective, there is a disagreement. I'm sorry, they disagree from the perspective of, so what's tzortan?
Surasan is their form, right? He's explaining why. I mean, he's dealing with this. I think a side point here. You have the malachim, which are not physical, but yet nevertheless they have a great riboy hayoser. There's a great many amount of malachim, and he said something which is not physical should not have duplication and division. But yet you see there are a great many divisions and duplications of malachim. So he has to deal with this point. So he's dealing with, I think, a somewhat of a side point, but in that we can also see a clarification of the point that was mentioned before this, that things which are non-physical are basically echad, things they are indivisible and without riboy, multiplication.
Right.
So he's explaining why malachim why there are some malachim. If in fact malachim are non-physical, you would expect that there shouldn't be a lot of malachim. Right? You see, there are. She said mitzad shehem muchulakim mitzad surasin, because they are divisible, because of their surasin is literally their form,
They're divisible from the perspective that they have a form, that they are called toros, a form, nifredos. What's nifredos?
Separate. They have separate forms.
Separate form. They're called that they have a separate form. Aval ba'adam ein bahem chiluk mitzad torosan. But with a man, with a person, they do not have a part from this perspective of a form.
Right, but I think by meaning with humans, you don't see that they are they're distinct and from the aspect of their form, meaning most humans look basically the same, right? Whereas Malachim, again, I'm not going to claim that I've seen Malachim, but what's being described to us here is Malachim seem to have different forms, whereas humans do not have separate forms. Meaning, like, let me just use an example, like clouds, right? Clouds, right? Clouds. I don't know if there's any cloud that ever existed that's the same as any other cloud that existed. You know, the clouds. You look at all kinds. You see all different kinds of clouds, right? There are about 4 or 5 basic types of clouds, right? But any given type of cloud within that basic type is going to be dramatically different than any other cloud, the size, the shape, right? So that's the nature of gases. Excuse me?
You could say the same thing about humans.
Well,
we all
yeah,
look alike from some level, but from another level, we're all different.
Yeah, but I mean, but but in general, the differences are minor, right? And, you know, you have in general a basic form of a person, right?
Right. Right.
You know. Okay, let's see further.
The difference between a saraf and an ophod, for example.
Apparently, right? Some have 6 wings, some have 8 wings. You know, from what Chazal described, right? And that's just part of it. That's obviously not all of it.
Or between a saraf and gravity, that's a big difference.
Oh, could be, right? That's right. That's right. Okay. I guess we could try and finish the paragraph. Yes. Okay, I'll tell you what, let's stop. I think I'd like to review this paragraph if you don't mind. I think it might be worth repeating this paragraph if you don't mind.
Absolutely. I do not mind at all.
I'd like to ask a question, please.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead, Ruth.
We're doing Avot 6,
Yes.
3, right? So
6, that's right.
So now I can't relate what we're doing to, I've just read through 6.3 and I can't relate what we're doing. 6.3 is that if someone teaches you something or whatever, you're beholden to him. That thing, you know, David only had one. Is that 6.3? Is that the 6.3?
It's hard to hear you,
yes. Yeah.
Okay. So now, how do we get onto this?
Okay, so I'll tell you exactly. One moment, just give me a second. I'll tell you where to look on that. If you maybe it's worthwhile also if you have that previous document, that's the previous document on 6.3, starting with the Mishnah Avos Perik Vav Mishnah Gimel. And so there I'll tell you, if you see the third paragraph, it starts with the Derech HaChaim, that's the Maral, who we're learning currently as well now. And there I'll tell you I will tell you that yes, in the second paragraph from the bottom, it starts Uma Shiroi L'Chachamim Torah L'Kavod.
Yeah.
Right. So at the end of I'll read you that first line. Uma Shiroi L'Chachamim Torah L'Kavod, and that the fact is that Chachamim of the wise, those who are wise in Torah, it's fit for them to be respected. Explain this in many places. That which is intelligent is worthy of respect and honor. The fee because that is a separation from the lowliness which is attached to that which is physical. Right? That's the point here. That which it's masulik from that which is masulik from the chomer. This whole paragraph here, if you want, we could actually start with. If you want to review this paragraph tomorrow, that's the jumping point to bring us to where we are now. Because here in what we're in that paragraph, there in 6.3, that's where the Maral just mentions this point and sort of in in passing, and as he said here, he's mentioned it many times before. So we're going into this 6-4 now to see a further development of that thought, that which is worthy of our respect and honor, is something which is removed from that which is physical, right? And that's bringing us to the points that are mentioned over here in our current document 6-4.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Okay.
I couldn't.
No. I mean, it's good, and it's an important point to the. Otherwise, you kind of wonder, like, where are we going with all this?
Yeah. I don't mind going with it, but that's fine. But,
The Gemara in Chagiga, if I'm not mistaken, says when Alexander the Great he came to the south of Eretz Israel and he met the Chachamim, so he asked them very different questions. So he said he wanted to go to Hari HaHoshech, the mountains of darkness. He wanted to go to explore the mountains of darkness, but it was known that anyone who would go there would never come back. Right? So they told him, when you go, right? So first you have to prepare yourself very long ropes, many very long ropes. And he said, when you start your journey, right, you tie your rope onto a fixed object, a tree or whatever, and you tie your rope and you have your rope with you, and just as you're going into the Har Choshech, you carry your rope with you, and then when you want to come out, you just rope yourself back through the path that you took, which you would not know without that rope. But having the rope tied to a fixed object at the beginning of your journey, you'll be able to get back to your original journey. So it's also when you get involved with these things, it's good to know where your starting point is.
yeah, tie a rope to it.
Yeah.
Not like there was this one story in the Greek mythology, I think, where someone decided they'd mark their way by putting bits of bread, and of course the bread was eaten up by the birds. Didn't
Yeah.
quite getting back.
That didn't get back where you wanted. Yeah, very good.
Okay.
Fine. All right, Roy, have a good afternoon. Hope to see you tomorrow. Okay, and we'll pick up shortly, Mitzvah Shem, in a few minutes with the Shir and Mishnah Brewer.
Bye for
Thank
now.
you, Rabbi.
Thank you.